beginning of a new month, I always just clear the whole chart, start fresh. And if you're brand new starting off, I recommend you do this every day until you get pretty good at marking up your charts. So you don't have to look at your old markups to try to figure out what is on the chart. You should be able to just clear the chart, start fresh, and do it again. But it is a new month. It is pretty much January 2025 in my eyes. So I'm just going to mark up the chart from scratch. And as we see here, this yearly candle closes in 2 days. And as we see for the year, pretty good. Pretty good year. Bullishness, right? Pretty bullish candle. I'm going to put this line here just at this whole level. 1700 was the significant high that we broke this year. So that's, to me, that's like essentially the floor, right? Like it's the new floor. And then let's go to the monthly time frame really quick. As you can see, this was the previous all-time high around this area. We broke above it beautifully, and we've been moving up ever since, right? And on this time frame right now, anytime you do top-down analysis, you're looking for any smart money order blocks and balances, inefficiencies in the market, things like that. But as we see, it's still fairly bullish for the monthly. We are still making higher highs and higher lows, things like that. So I'm just going to continue to mark those up. This is a significant level as well, 20,800 because of this high, this previous high. So I'm having that marked up as well. And I'm also going to mark up the new all-time highs right here, which is 22,150 essentially, right? So I'm just trying to box in price, trying to just make sure I have these numbers pretty accurate. Go back to the monthly. I want to make sure these lines show on all the time frames, right? So I'm going to select all of them, visibility, boom. Go back to the weekly. And as we see here, we're starting to see structure more clear. And again, I would say this is the move from the beginning of the year that really set everything up, right? Again, this is the weekly time frame. We had lots of liquidity being built up. We swept that liquidity, and then we did get the break above, and we came back for the nice retest, and then price flew, right? Very, very clean retest. If you draw the Fibonacci as well from these lows to the highs, we got a nice 80 to 90% discount, right? Very crazy discount, right? We like the sellers were so strong, they almost wiped out the entire move here. Right, and if they would have, then we would have been looking somewhere here or down here in these areas. But this was a very solid move right there. Very nice discount. Okay. And then price moved up, ended up breaking above these highs in here. Let's see, what is this? Not now. Now let's go to the daily. What's going on in the daily time frame? We see things more clear as well. And I am going to mark up 20K just because that's like a solid, it's like right in the middle. 20, boom. I like that a lot. 20,000, boom. That's what we have right there. And again, as we see here on the charts, we are still in a fairly bullish environment. Higher highs and higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low. So we could be gearing up to make another higher high. But on the daily time frame, we did get some interesting market structure, right? We can either be going to make new highs, or we can be going to potentially give us some type of move to the downside. And the reason why I say that is because if you look back here, we had, this higher high, higher low, this higher high, and then we did break structure to the downside. And we did have a significant sell-off, but that sell-off brought us closer to the buys from before, and we're starting to see something similar right here on the daily time frame. But let me go to the 4-hour just so you can see it more clear, right? This is what we see. We have a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then we did break structure to the downside multiple times, and then we ended up giving we actually got a nice accumulation schematic from this though, right? Even though we broke structure to the downside, we got this set up right here, and it played off perfectly, very, very nicely. And in this situation, this is a prime example of sometimes when I say that we don't always have to come down to the 50%, because sometimes it doesn't want to do that. Because don't forget that a 382 retracement, it matters just as much, because that means that the trend is extremely strong. And in this situation, price only gave us the 382. We moved up and then we got a nice 382 retracement and then price flew. So to me, that means that this is a very strong trend for now, right? We still have to break through all this here in order to confirm everything. But as of right now, we are in an area where price could potentially respect the sells. If price wanted to respect the sells, that's perfectly fine. But as with current price action, with what's happening right here, if you ignore the left, right, pretend all this is gone and you only look at what's happening here, right, it's very bullish, right? It's a very bullish structure. If we just go based off that, again, we have some liquidity being built up. We swept the lows and we broke above the highs, indicating a break of structure to the upside, right? That's very significant. So then when price decides to work its way back down, we can take buys off the retest, the break and retest, or somewhere lower based off of, smart money, any other entries like that. And that's essentially what's happening here right in front of us. Right? The same thing is happening right here. We had a low point, we had a high point, we swept those lows, and we have a very nice aggressive break to the upside with the retest, and then price flew. This is very textbook. Price even came back again, right? Sold off again off of this order block right in here. Sold off, boom, gave us another entry again. And we were able to catch these last week if we were plugged in. Very textbook. And I know for the sellers, they were selling based off this as well. This is a significant low that was broken right in here. This lowest low, that area. I'm gonna go ahead and make this black. 1 thickness. Very clean sniper entry right there. We broke this structure to the downside with this huge imbalance candle, came back to retest with no drawdown and sold off pretty significantly. Right, but this sell-off was needed to take price back into our buy zone, which is how we were able to capitalize off that. There's also an order block here as well if you want to trade based off that as well. So that's pretty significant. But the fact that we didn't sell off and violate this buy structure, that to me lets me know that maybe the sells aren't as powerful. Because if we sold off so aggressively here and we came back to retest or mitigate, this sell should have been strong enough to break through and violate these buys here, right? But it didn't really do that. And instead, it sold off and then it immediately rejected. So I'm very curious to see what's going to happen here when the market does open. But as long as I see more accumulation schematics, we should be good. I would be looking out for a potential rejection here. We may get some rejection off of this low as well, because this low, we broke structure to the downside right there. Keep in mind though, we are still holding up these highs. Price is still respecting this level here. This was the significant high that we broke above to continue the uptrend, even came to fill in some of this imbalance here to then continue to move up. So if you wanted to take any sells, I would be looking to look at this area here for a possible rejection. Look for some type of distribution. Don't just take the sell just to take it. You want to just see if you have evidence first, right? You want to have some type of evidence, so then you're not just guessing and going off your emotions. You have an actual concrete evidence. And then also, if you do break above here, then this would be the next area as well. But as far as right now, I still am in favor of the buys overall. Overall, I do like the buys. If you zoom out and really get a bigger picture, let's go back to the daily. If you draw a Fibonacci, let's go back to the weekly actually. If you draw the Fibonacci from these lows right in here all the way to the highs, then a 50% discount would be down there. Right, but again, it doesn't always have to come back down there. It can go to the 382 or even higher. So we'll see what happens. But right now, let's go to the 1 hour time frame. As of right now, I am not seeing any reason to go to the downside just yet. Right, not yet. because we are still respecting the buy setup. I would be concerned once we get up here. This is about another 130, 40 pips until we get to an area where price could see some type of rejection. But even then, we have to just wait and be patient, right? So it's kind of like this, for instance. Like, let me give you guys a quick quiz. If you see something like this, right, you have higher highs and higher lows, working your way up, right, and then we break structure to the downside and start doing our thing. Most people, they want to sell when it comes up here, right? It just makes sense. But what if you see right in an area that you're supposed to sell? What if you see this? Are you still going to sell, or are you going to, yeah, let me ask you guys that. Are you still going to sell? If you guys see a buy setup in an area where most people would sell, what are you going to do? Right, let's say this is the high, and then your stop loss is up here. But as price works its way up to an area that you want to sell at, but you don't see any distribution, you see, in fact, breaks of structure to the upside, what are you going to do? That's the ultimate question right there. That's because this happens a lot. Price gets to an area where you want to sell, but it's not giving you any type of distribution. So it's like, you got to be careful with that. If you start seeing the distribution, then yeah, for sure. But I've seen this happen time and time again, where I've seen clean accumulation in a sell area and prices violates this whole setup, right? But that's kind of what I see here. Right, we're working out. This whole area from these lows right here that were broken. All this is potentially like a sell area, but we're not seeing too much distribution. We have accumulation here with these lows being swept, broke above, and we even have more here. We have this accumulation. We swept the lows and we broke above. Came back to retest the setup. Right? So we would have to we have to see some type of like violation and like just break down below this and then see it again. Break down below this, and then that would be like, okay, maybe price wants to go lower. But until this stop loss gets hit, really until this one as well, right? Until these gets clapped, we have to hold on to the original bias. So yeah, so until something like that happens, we'll see. I know the market opens here in 45 minutes. So I'm very curious to see. What do you guys think in the chat?
Can you hear me?
I hear you. What's good, brother?
Hey, so I was just wondering what you thought. So those lower lows right there that you're
Uh,
seeing,
this one?
yeah. Would you? I kind of consider those weak lows. What do
Weak
you think?
lows. So I
Weak
can
lows, yeah.
so in order for it to be a weak low, we would have not have broken the highs. So
Mm-hmm.
because this low was used to break structure to the upside, it's now a strong protected low. So if it did something like
Even
this, if it was like this, right, and we dropped and then we weren't able to break above the highs and we continued and maybe gave like
yeah.
a, yeah, then this low would be weak because this low wasn't strong enough to break above the highs. But
What do you think about more so in regards of the short time, but more of the liquidity being built, swept, and then a move happen?
that's also a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. The thing is, when I look back here though, at all this liquidity that was being built up, right, and then we did sweep it right here. We swept these lows and we broke above, retested, and then flew. And we came all the way back down with that crazy FOMC meeting, and we respected this whole setup and continued to break structure to the upside. So,
Oh, I mean, real short, like real short term.
what do you mean?
So I'm talking about just literally not even so with that last. that FMOC move on the very, very bottom, that last wick in my black line.
Yeah.
I'm talking about on a higher time frame, there's a bigger wick. So more so it's mitigating that move. So that was used as well. And those two wicks that I was mentioning, just being short term liquidity being swept and then the up move happening again. You see that long wick?
This one here.
Yeah. So I was kind of looking at that as more so just an area of mitigation before the up move.
It's possible.
What do you think?
It's hard to tell. That's why
Okay.
I just go based off the structure itself. So it just takes out any type of like guessing because I don't know which lows or want to be swept. I don't know which liquidity it's going for. But as long as the structure tells us, then we're good. And based off what we see, this is the daily chart. We are breaking these highs. If you zoom in here, we broke above this high, we broke above this high, right? And we're just working our way up, making higher highs and higher lows. We do have this potential distribution here, right? We have crazy a high, low, another higher high, higher low. So I mean, this is an area where price could, continue and just sell off, right? That can definitely happen. But look, based off how the market closed and last week and how we're still pushing fairly aggressively to the upside, it's possible that we could continue up, but then price could also sell off, right? It can either go up or down, right? So we're like stuck in between two types of market structure. We're stuck in between this distribution here and the accumulation. And anytime that happens, I just go based off the trend, right? Because instead of trying to just go against it, if we're stuck in between a distribution setup and an accumulation and they're overlapping like this, I'll just stick with the trend, just to be safe. Because I've seen NAS. I mean, I'm sure you guys have all seen NAS, and it just blow through levels, things like that. But if it were to drop,
Yo, yo,
oh, it's good. What's up, Chris?
yo, what's up? Just kind of piggybacking off what Atmo was saying. I do agree with you, Will. I think that we can't really rush to conclusions in terms of seeing more downside until those lows are broken because we do have bullish structure on the 4 hour. But if we do make lower lows off the mitigation from where price retested from FOMC, I can see us coming back down to off the daily, if you want to go there real quick, to 19.1K. That original move right down there where it formed that structure, the liquidity sweep, the W, and then it pushed up,
Okay, this whole
taking all that
structure
trend.
here.
Yeah, taking the trend line out that people see right there above it. And then that's where you could see some stronger mitigation for long-term swings. But that's only in play if we make lower lows.
Yeah.
I would take the trend line. The way I took the trend line was from the bottom of 19.27, like right, yeah, like that trend line, and then I brought down the rest. That trend line, that nice trend it's following right there into the bullish structure. So break it below the bullish structure or into the bullish structure, and then mitigation off that imbalance and the inverse head and shoulder right below there.
Yeah, I mean this is also a problem as well. Like this is nasty liquidity, and it's crazy because with FOMC they said that this drop here liquidated like 1.5 trillion dollars, and the whole market is like 7 trillion total. So if we do liquidate this trend line, that may clap like at least like $4 trillion from the market. I know everyone and their mama is in these buys probably, right? So we'll
Yeah,
see.
it's definitely something to consider, but I don't think it's in play until we see lower lows, or we just need more evidence. As of right now, I don't see that
Yeah.
personally.
And then I mean, even looking back here, I mean at these trend lines as well, like price didn't really like break these trend lines like that. Even this one as well. It took a while. It took a while looking back. All these trend lines, like with NAS and indices, these things just run. This can literally just continue, go parabolic, or it can say, you know what, we want to drop and liquidate some more and just continue from here. We don't really know yet. All we do know is we just pay attention to the structure. So what I'll do is I'll just be looking right here on the 1 hour and seeing if we do break more structure to the upside. Are we making higher highs? Are we making lower lows? What's going on? And then based off that, we'll be able to take some trades. But if you want to sell, this is a nice area to sell off right in there. And if you want higher sells, right there as well. Super, super solid, super clean areas. I actually saw this last week. I was like, yeah, if I've in my mind, I was like, if I sell, I should sell right now. But I was like, I'm not gonna go against my strategy, and then that thing just melted like so much. I was like, maybe I should take some more sales. Let me see. Let me see. I see that you have your yellow line there. It never closed below. It never closed below. So, what do you think of that atmosphere?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that move would just mitigate to go back up. If it goes below that wick, then it's selling off. But I'm talking about real short, like within this Monday or Tuesday, that it just goes down there and mitigates, and then watch it from there. Because if it goes below that yellow line, like I think you said Chris was saying, then potentially it can go way lower. But there's sell side liquidity on the top. I'm looking just for a short term move to go on that middle line around that 21,780 area that you have. Drop off, like you said, where there's like, structure showing that's going to sell off a little bit. Clear those two wicks of liquidity or buys, and then mitigate and then go back up. And then from there, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. Like that all well could very happen for sure. And if it happens, then I'm here for it. You say you're praying it happens. Oh, hey, if it happens, it happens. If it happens, I will personally get in the sell with you guys, honestly. Because if that happens, then that means we may have a nasty drop, and I can't just sit back and allow this to happen without pressing any buttons. It's gonna be insane. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm very curious. This move here was probably the most sniperish move. But it's crazy, like we didn't really drop too much. After this massive FOMC candle, we came right back into it. It's like damn, it took us 5 days to recover. Imagine breaking up with like your girl and then she recovers within how many days did this take? 7 days. A week later, she with someone else. Imagine FOMC, you dumped your girl, and within 7 days, she's already back on top. That's a crazy recovery. Crazy recovery. So I don't know. It happened too quick. It happened too quick. We'll see though. We'll see. For the charts. Yeah, exactly. For the charts. 100%. But does that make sense? Does that make sense? You guys kind of have a feeling of what's happening here. If it comes lower before it goes higher, then we're still in this buy zone here. So technically, you can be buying off of this right here. Anywhere in between, then your stop loss would be down there. But if you want a smaller risk, then you just wait for more of the setup to happen right in there, which is, I'm pretty sure it's already happening here on the smaller time frames. Gotta wait for this to confirm to give you a smaller stop loss, or you can use this one here as well. I believe it was like a 200 pip move. Yeah, 200 pips. Nothing too crazy. Go to the 5 minute real quick. We see more evidence on the 5 minute as well. All right, we had these lows here. Boom. Barely swept it. Broke above. We also broke above these highs. This is more evidence, right? More evidence. We'll see what they want to do. Right? Low, high, sweep, break above, retest, gone. Retest again from these previous highs, gone. And then we closed off pretty stagnant. So, I mean, even here, we want to see a break above these highs. In order for price to continue, this is an order block, right? This last up candle before the aggressive down push. We got to close above these highs. right? Again, it's a low point with that wick, high point with this wick, sweep, all this consolidation, all this accumulation, that's technically a sweep. This is technically a wick on a larger time frame. So we swept, and if you do get this break above here, that's more evidence of bullishness right there as well. So we'll see what happens in there once per bar close. If I get that alert, then I'll know what time it is. If not, we'll see. I am going to be doing live trading tomorrow with the certified snipers as well. So if you're not in there, get in there. And then Wednesday, I'll be doing it for everyone else. But we'll be trading this live tomorrow and seeing what happens. Specifically in the morning with the structure. But yeah, I know we got some buyers. I know we got some sellers. So make sure you guys are dropping your charts. There is money to be made both ways as well, but just make sure everyone is sharing the charts, being friendly. I don't know what happened with that last guy. He was someone shared their chart and he was like laughing, LOL. I would never laugh at your charts unless you have like 20,000 indicators, but then like I'll make a joke out of it. Yeah, he was being like disrespectful in the chats. I don't want people to feel like uncomfortable sharing their charts or feel like they'll be judged. This is a safe space, so when someone does share their chart, I want it to be like open and friendly, and open to constructive criticism or critiques, whatever. It's fine. Like no one's perfect. Yeah, he's not serious because he didn't drop not one chart in the chat. All he was doing was saying weird things about trading with no stop loss, and then saying like bad words, things like that. Not really being mature, and that's what I meant when I posted the other day. I'm like, some people are getting older, but they're not actually growing up. Like we got grown men and women acting like children for no reason in a very serious environment. So let's get to the bag. Let's make some money and let's take it to the next level. And I'll see you guys in the chat. I'll see you guys when the market opens. And then if you're certified snipers, 6 a.m. tomorrow, we're going to be on the charts trading NAS together. So let's get it. Super excited.